Imagine this. What if the very thing that makes us feel alive, the untamed spirit of youth, the limitless imagination of a child, was also the thing that kept us trapped, unable to grow, unable to step into the full power of who we are meant to be? What if the eternal child within us, the part that dreams and resists structure, is the same part that holds us back from true fulfillment? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might see yourself in a way you never have before. Carl Jung, one of the most revolutionary minds in psychology, described a phenomenon that is more relevant today than ever before: the Puer Aeternus, the eternal child. He saw it as both a gift and a trap, a force that fuels our creativity but also keeps us stuck in perpetual adolescence. This archetype is woven into every aspect of our lives, shaping our decisions, our fears, our ambitions. Jung believed that true growth is impossible without confronting this inner child, not to destroy it, but to transform it, to integrate its energy, not be consumed by it. Because when we refuse to take responsibility, when we cling to dreams without action, we waste our potential in the name of freedom. But how do we break free? How do we evolve without losing the parts of ourselves that make life magical? The eternal child resists anything that threatens its sense of possibility. Commitment feels suffocating. Responsibility feels like a trap. Limits feel like death. So we avoid, we escape, we chase distractions, we indulge in fantasies of the future rather than building it with our hands. We reject the weight of adulthood, thinking it will keep us free. But is it freedom or is it fear? Imagine a person who spends their life chasing big ideas, always on the verge of something great, but never following through. They have passion but no discipline, dreams but no direction, energy but no endurance. They move from one pursuit to another, abandoning anything that demands too much effort. Every time reality knocks at their door, they retreat into the comfort of possibilities rather than facing the discomfort of action. They tell themselves they're different, misunderstood, destined for something bigger. But deep down, there is a gnawing emptiness, a quiet voice that asks, what if I'm just running? What if I'm afraid to fail, so I never truly try? This is the shadow of the eternal child, the part of us that resists growing up, not out of rebellion, but out of fear. The fear of responsibility, of limitation, of making a choice and being held to it. Because choices mean doors closing, paths narrowing, and that terrifies the child within us. Jung believed that this archetype isn't just an individual struggle, it's a cultural epidemic. Look around. Our world glorifies youth, spontaneity, and limitless potential. We celebrate the dreamers, the rebels, the free spirits, but at what cost? Social media fuels instant gratification, making depth and patience feel outdated. We idolize people who seem effortlessly successful, reinforcing the illusion that struggle is for the weak. But here's the truth. Nothing real is effortless. Every masterpiece, every great relationship, every meaningful pursuit is built on discipline, patience, and endurance. These are the things the eternal child resists. But resisting doesn't make them disappear. It only keeps us from achieving anything lasting. Jung's answer wasn't to kill the eternal child, but to guide it toward transformation. Because when this archetype is integrated, it fuels innovation, ignites creativity, and makes life extraordinary. It keeps us curious, passionate, and open. The goal is not to lose this part of ourselves, but to channel it in a way that gives our lives purpose, rather than leaving us in a cycle of avoidance. So how do we integrate the eternal child? How do we take its gifts without falling into its traps? First, we must confront its shadow. This means asking the hard questions. What am I avoiding? Where am I choosing fantasy over reality? Am I using my dreams as an escape from the discomfort of effort? Jung believed that until we make the unconscious conscious, it will control our lives, and we will call it fate. The first step to transformation is awareness. The next step is action. Because dreams without action are nothing. They are air, a mirage. A life lived in potential is a life never truly lived. This doesn't mean making reckless leaps into responsibility. It means taking small, consistent steps towards something real. choosing depth over distraction, choosing discipline over delay. For some, this means finally committing to a project, to a career, to a relationship, despite the fear. For others, it means letting go of the fantasy that one day, magically, everything will fall into place. Because it won't. And that's a good thing, because it means you have power. You are the architect of your own life. Jung also emphasized that integration isn't just about personal growth, it's about connection. The eternal child often struggles with relationships. It fears vulnerability, responsibility, and emotional depth. It keeps people at a distance to maintain its illusion of independence. But true connection requires the courage to be seen, to embrace not only the excitement of love, but the work it demands. We cannot grow in isolation. We need mirrors, friends, mentors, partners who challenge us, reflect our weaknesses, and push us forward. We need relationships that hold us accountable to the highest version of ourselves. But here's the most important part. Freedom and responsibility are not opposites. True freedom is not the ability to avoid commitments, but the ability to choose your commitments with intention. It is not a life without limits, but a life where the limits serve a purpose. Think of an artist. Without discipline, their inspiration leads nowhere. Without structure, their talent is wasted. But when they channel their energy with focus, they create something timeless. This is the alchemy of transformation, turning raw potential into something real. The eternal child within you is not your enemy. It is your fuel. But fuel alone does not move a car. It needs direction. It needs a driver. So ask yourself, where is your energy going? Are you building something real or just chasing the thrill of possibility? Are you avoiding responsibility in the name of freedom, or are you using your freedom to create something meaningful? Because at the end of your life, what will matter more? The endless fantasies of what could have been, or the reality of what you built? You do not have to choose between dreams and action. You must choose both. So take the first step. Integrate the eternal child. Turn imagination into creation. And finally, step into the life that is waiting for you. Not in your mind, but in reality, because this is the only life you get. Make it count. But here's the challenge. Transformation is not a one-time decision. It's a daily battle. The eternal child will not disappear overnight. It will whisper in your ear when things get hard. It will tempt you with easy escapes, with the illusion that the right time is still somewhere in the distance. It will tell you to wait, to hesitate, to turn back. And this is where most people fail. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack potential, but because they lack the endurance to push through the discomfort of becoming. To truly integrate this archetype, you must expect resistance. You must recognize that discomfort is not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're growing. Because real growth is painful. It's the death of illusion. It's stepping away from the safety of daydreams and into the reality of effort. So what does this look like in practice? It looks like showing up when motivation is gone. It looks like committing before you feel ready. It looks like choosing the work over the fantasy every single day. The eternal child fears limitation. But here's the paradox. Without limitation, nothing becomes real. A musician who refuses to commit to one instrument never masters any. A writer who jumps from idea to idea never finishes a book. A person who never chooses a path stays lost forever. If you want something to exist outside your mind, you must choose. You must be willing to close doors, to sacrifice infinite possibility in exchange for something real. This is why commitment is so terrifying, because it means letting go of the version of you that exists in your head. The one who was always about to start, the one who could have been anything. But here's what no one tells you. Letting go of that fantasy is the moment you truly come alive. Because instead of living in the illusion of potential, you start living in reality. You stop being someone who could, and you become someone who does. This is the core of individuation, the merging of the dreamer and the doer, the fusion of inspiration and discipline. It is becoming whole, and when this happens, something incredible shifts. You stop seeing responsibility as a weight and start seeing it as power. You stop avoiding structure and start using it to fuel your creativity. You stop fearing the loss of freedom because you realize True freedom is the ability to turn your vision into reality. This is the rebirth of the eternal child, not as a force of avoidance, but as a force of creation. Because when properly integrated, this archetype does not hold you back. It propels you forward. It keeps you curious. It keeps you passionate. It keeps you in touch with the part of you that believes in something greater. But belief alone is not enough. You must act. You must build. You must transform thought into movement, vision into form. This is your challenge. Will you continue chasing the mirage of what could be, or will you finally step into the life that can be? But only if you create it. Because at the end of it all, you will not be remembered for what you imagine. You will be remembered for what you made real. The choice is yours. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.